Welcome. Hi, this is Carol from Skill Check. Today I'm going to be talking about some dangerous things. It's going to be about lithium batteries being stored in self storage. So let's get started. The interesting thing is the kind of the first time I heard about lithium batteries and how dangerous they can be was basically when I was on a plane, and they're like, "Oh, you can't store any lithium batteries, or you have to, especially underneath the plane as opposed to in the cabin, because it could overheat and explode, and then it causes a fire." So that doesn't sound anything good about that on a plane for sure, right? So the airline industry found out that they noticed there were, if you'll see notices about the from the TSA agents saying, you can't put lithium batteries in your luggage. They're asking you about it, and they go through a process. Basically what happens, they have a thermal runaway, and it causes them to catch on fire, and they just overheat. They can overheat from like too overcharging. So that could be me sometimes. My son's like, "Mom, stop overcharging stuff." I just want to make sure I have a great charge by the time I get on the plane. So, but he does worry about that sort of thing because I'm assuming that he knows that, it could fry my nice computer. So, the interesting thing is, well, why could this or how could this happen in self storage, or would it? Uh, I guess it absolutely can, right? Because we know that a self storage facility in New York had this problem, and they were storing e-bikes for a customer, and they guess they were using the lithium batteries to in the with the bikes, and they were improperly stored basically because it frankly just got too hot. They got too hot, and that I think there were other issues around it. But let's listen to this video.
The dangers of e-bikes uncovered once again after a fire at a Brooklyn storage facility. One firefighter was hurt, and inside the building, investigators found hundreds of bikes and lithium-ion batteries. CBS 2's Natalie Duddridge reports on the safety concerns from Sunset Park.
Video shows smoke pouring out of the Stop and Store self-storage warehouse on 63rd Street and 6th Avenue.
My God, this is unbelievable.
At 1 p.m. Sunday, dozens of firefighters responded to a call from a manager that the storage unit was on fire.
Inside the storage unit, they were encountered with 3 e-bikes or mopeds that were on fire.
Those burnt bikes could be seen on the street out front. Fire officials say they also later pulled 300 bikes and batteries from an adjacent unit.
These batteries, at any moment, even if you have it in your house, they're going to blow up. You don't know when they're defected.
Fire officials say the sprinkler system was working, but the fire was too overwhelming.
When fire suppression systems were designed a long time ago, no one had e-bikes or e-batteries in mind. So what happens is these fire suppression systems, they're not designed to put out enough water.
While battling the blaze, a firefighter suffered smoke inhalation when his mask was dislodged. He's now recovering in the hospital.
In a very hazardous building, it's a snake-type corridor. You're going in there in a smoke-filled condition.
We tried to ask a staff member at Stop and Store if bikes and batteries are allowed to be stored here, but they locked the doors and didn't respond to our calls and emails for comment. Stop and Store's website has a list of items not allowed, including flammable materials, but it doesn't specifically list e-bikes or lithium-ion batteries.
I don't think that storage will allow that. That's what I'm surprised.
The FDNY says so far this year, lithium-ion batteries have caused 214 fires, 116 injuries, and 14 fatalities. And on Monday, City Council is holding a hearing on safety standards on lithium-ion batteries and their efforts to prevent these dangerous fires. As for this fire, it's still under investigation. In Sunset Park, Brooklyn, Natalie Duddridge, CBS 2 News.
So I think after listening to that, boy, isn't it important to really think about, what your customers are storing. And let's say, at least at a minimum, you want to have some signage around the property. And I just gave you an example here: no lithium batteries allowed in storage spaces, because storage owners should really place signs around the property about the lithium batteries so they understand. And I would say give some guidance to your customers, if there's a risk, or if you hear they're storing e-bikes or whatever it may be that you think, oh, this could possibly be a problem, because it can cause a fire. And especially if we already know this has already happened in storage, don't think just because, it's your store, it may not happen, especially in hot areas, because I live in Arizona. So it gets 118 outside, and inside a storage property, it may be, there's storage space, maybe even hotter. So, or it could be cooler. It just depends on the way it's constructed. But think about those things when you're talking to your customers, and make sure you've got signage around the property. The other thing is, just let's say, for example, if you wanted to have something around the property that you might be able to use to put it out, this particular extover, it's an extinguishing agent, and it displaces oxygen and suffocates the fire basically, and prevents reflaming. Now, if you catch something early, you could certainly put something like this on it. The suggestion that I saw online was to have this, in a maybe in our maintenance unit, something like that, in case there was a fire. So, but it absorbs the thermal energy and it prevents it from expanding. And that's part of the problem with this. It just can go uh, from a little bitty overheating to a small little fire to a big thing, if you don't control it. But the vapors and the fumes, they accumulate on the surface and are bound, basically for disposal with this. So it really works. And it's a really positive thing to have around the property if you want to fight this kind of fire. One of the things that I think is so important about this topic is that I believe that your rental agreement should be updated. And the hard part about this is, I know that a lot of you don't ever change your rental agreements, or think, oh, it just stays the same all the time. Literally, for me, I do this every year. I get it updated every year, and my favorite attorneys in self storage will tell me that, yeah, hey, we don't, yours is good, we haven't had any changes. But like, for example, this one, I think it's important to add something like this to my rental agreement about this potential fire hazard, especially in those non-climate controlled units, right? Because that could be really dangerous, especially with my stores being in Arizona. So for help with this, and assistance in kind of getting your rental agreement straight, and all really compliance from not just this issue, but for any issue. One of my favorite attorneys in the self-storage industry, Scott Zucker, his numbers here, the 404-364-4626. That's Scott at wzlegal.com. So I think, and I hope you realize that this is, just a short presentation, but I think it's important. And look at your rental agreement and make sure you're complying. And I really appreciate you listening to this today. So subscribe to my channel if you would. I'd appreciate that. And if you have any things you'd like me to take on as topics, let me know. You can reach me at carol@skillcheck.com, or the phone number, either way. And I enjoy doing these, so I'd happy to take all kinds of topics. And happy renting. Thank you. Bye.